Hi, my name is Joe Jackson. I'm a journalist, author, interviewer, and broadcaster. And what you're about to hear is one of the roughly 1,400 interviews I did for all major media outlets in Ireland. How do I know there are roughly 1,400? Because I recently digitized all the damn tapes myself. But do remember, many of the interviews were done for the print media and recorded on cassette tapes. So some are, let's say, sonically challenged. However, I happen to believe that sonic consideration should at times give way to historical significance. And even though one powers be in RTE Radio 1 agreed with me on this, which led to me broadcasting between the years 2015 and 2018 a radio series called the Joe Jackson Tapes Revisited, another roundly rejected the notion and pulled, for example, a programme I made based on what many people still see as a truly historical interview I did with Eamon Dunphy in 1996. It certainly was one of a kind, and I'm not saying that. Dunphy himself did 4 years later when we did a second interview, and he compared the first to being like being put in the psychiatrist's chair in the style of the interviews Anthony Clare once did on radio. Eamon also said he'd never do such an interview again, and didn't, even with me, the second time around. Either way, both interviews are in my ebook, Conversations with a Loudmouth, the Eamon Dunphy Tapes. And the title is a tease, in a sense, because I always wanted to set up the man's public image at first and then subvert it. The truth is that Dunphy's loudmouth pose is nothing more than that, a pose on his behalf. A protective shield I believe Amo carries to hide, among other things, a crippling shyness that lingers to whatever degree ever since his teenage years. In this podcast, I want to play the part of our conversation in 1996 where we focused on that very subject, specifically as it related to Amo's earliest sexual liaisons. But the side issues we discussed were equally fascinating. By the way, Conversations with a Loudmouth is available from all ebook outlets, and if you want to access my tapes for personal or professional use, contact me via my website, joejacksoninterviewer.com.
Well, I was a very shy person, very shy, blush and all that, you know. I was just very shy.
Nature.
No, my mother's shy, and I was shy. I am shy, actually. I'm a shy person. Obviously, it's well concealed now by the social cosmetics. But fundamentally, I am. And certainly, as a youngster, I was small and timid.
But it's not
and
the
shy.
shyness that's rooted in any sense of inferiority. Let's get that out of the way.
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to post-rationalize for you now. I'm trying to look back. No, I was shy because we came from a small family.
Right.
So I shy with girls, shy with strangers.
You were shy with girls?
Oh yeah, shy with strangers, no chance. that was like until I was
40.
40, yeah, maybe still, you know. But
no, but is that true? That was 4 days into the cinema. I mean, with the local girlfriends and all that. Were you really kind of
I was
outside
hopeless.
all that?
I was hopeless.
So
yeah.
It was like terror was actually getting the nerve to.
Oh yeah, yeah, and girls knew it. And it's a funny thing. I mean, I was hopeless. I couldn't get to first base.
Did you get to any base?
I couldn't get to any base really. No, I mean.
They identified your shyness and fear and all that terror.
Yeah, no, they identified. I think they identified my shyness, my powerlessness, my lack of what would you call it?
Absorption of the courting rituals.
No, I mean I was as eager to learn as everyone else, but I think women have a good sense of powerlessness in a person, and I was in that. I was powerless.
Would it be the women on that road, your general area?
There weren't many. We didn't see many girls, you know.
All right.
It was very much a boys together sort of thing.
Right.
The girls were in a different.
Even the pictures. When you go to the pictures,
you go to pictures. We didn't. See, I left when I was 15, so I never went through all that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was only. It was only beginning then. The sort of boys and girls thing of dances and that. So.
All right.
There'd be the odd sort of grope in the picture house. Owen Hand and I once groped the same girl in the pictures.
At the same time?
At the same time, yeah.
Whose hand was on the outside?
Well, he was with her. in the
yeah,
front,
ratchet.
in front of me, and I was in the back seat behind it. It's a terrible thing. God love her, I know her too.
Oh, so did that not?
No, I don't know her now, but I mean, I know her story. And
so when you went over to England, did you carry those feelings with you, or did you get rid of them because you'd achieved what you had achieved by progressing?
No, I was still a very shy person. But Manchester in 1960 was the rock and roll years, you know, and like I plunged in.
Right in 1960.
Oh yeah.
All right. It was the Teddy Boy era.
No, it was after the Teddy. A bit after the Teddy Boy era. It was just when the Beatles. I saw the Beatles. The Beatles. Yeah, the Beatles were playing in Manchester when we were there in 1960. Yeah, I saw them play in a club Jimmy Savile owned called the Three Coins
in 60.
Yeah.
All right. This is really
early stuff. I'll tell you who I saw: Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders, Freddie and the Dreamers, the Hollies. Not the Hollies were huge. In the local scene. Right. Hermits a bit later on. They came afterwards.
Yeah, they came around 63, 64.
Yeah. They used to play. We used to go to the Plaza in Oxford Road, and Hollies were the band at lunchtime. Herman and the Hermits. Right. But Jimmy Savile had a club there, and it was happening. It was a breaking scene there, and obviously we had to play football. I was in digs with Barry Fry, who's now the manager of Birmingham, and anyone who knows football will know Barry, like he's spivvy and crazy, you know. We were in digs together for 4 years.
But how did that affect you in helping you to break out of your shyness and your reticence with women and all that? Because you were coming of age at that point. You were what, 15?
15. Well, yeah, the girls of Manchester were certainly. If you played for Manchester United.
Oh, you were.
Yeah. I mean, there was loads of girls, but it didn't do me any good because I was much too shy and gentle.
Even then, no. But
yeah.
I thought that would have given you such a boost of confidence.
No, I didn't.
You know, to have progressed up from Stella Maris through the club and then up to getting a dream.
But you feel very vulnerable when you see. Well, this is the mistake I think people make. We weren't precocious. I wasn't a precocious kid. That's really it. No matter what you accomplished, there's a personal precociousness that I think certain young people have. That I think it's quite rare. I think most people are confused in that adolescent period, regardless if they're, doing well in their sport or doing well in other things. I don't think that being a schoolboy international soccer player, which was a great thing, going to Manchester United, which was like a dream, but it wouldn't in any way help you with the other things, like girls or...
But if there were Manchester United group, surely you avail.
Yeah, I did, but not as sort of... I always kind of had I did avail a little bit, but, you know...
Just a little. You didn't go wild. It wasn't like kind of finally set free and confident and all this stuff.
No, I certainly wasn't confident. I never got confident with women until I was in my 30s, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you do what you said best did, which is drink to beat the shyness, to hide the shyness?
No, I didn't. No, I was never drinking. No. All right. Neither was George in the first 2 years. And George and I were good friends. I took George to his first dance. I remember there was a girl who was my landlady's daughter. Chrissy, her name was. And she was going out with a fella called Hughie Curran, who anyone from the soccer pedigree here might remember. He went to Manchester United, but they let him go, and he went to play for the club in Scotland. So I immediately started two-tying with Chrissy, and they were engaged. And she used to go to the phone box.
You never broke the cinema habit, did you?
No, that's right, furtive. This honest man of conviction.
Don't sit in front of him in a cinema even today.
That's right. But she used to go to the phone box to phone Hughie in Scotland, or he'd be phoning her, and we'd be necking in the phone box while we were waiting for the call. Anyway, when George came over a year after me, George was terribly shy, very quiet, but much more self-possessed than I was, behind the shyness. And the first week he was over, he was like a lost soul, maybe the first few weeks. And he was on his own in digs just across the road from us. So I said to him on the Friday, or on the Saturday after we played our match, we played in the A team or whatever. I said, do you want to come out tonight? I'm going to the Plaza, which was a big deal, the big happening place in town. And he said, yeah, great. So I said, I'm going with Chrissy, but you can come, you know? So George got himself, and George is dainty little fella. I don't know if you've got me Russell book. There's a great picture of George when he first came. Like he was like this sort of pretty little guy, very neat, talcum powder, the hair slicked down, you know, and he was a cool lad, George. He was shy but cool, and so we went to the dance, and she and I were into each other big time, but I knew she wasn't. I wasn't serious about her.
Did she know?
Yeah, she wasn't serious about me. English girls are much older than us. Like, she was 17, going on 107, you know. Anyway, George sat with us all night, and we were all drinking Coke.
Yeah.
And I was 16, he was 15, or 15 and a half. And we were all drinking Coke. So he sat there very quiet all night, and I said, why don't you go to a dance? No, I said, loads of, look, I said, it's all over the place. So I said to Chrissy, we were out dancing. I said, now look, do me a favour, will you? Have a few dances. This is true. So I said, my life, my children's life. She said, no fucking way. She was a dog. I said, no way. I said, come on. He told me, fuck up. She said, no way. And she fucking wouldn't. And I remember cut to about 3 years.
Why wouldn't she? What was wrong with him?
He was boring to her.
Okay, all
right. Right? And she was in there. And about 3 years afterwards.
She had a handful anyway.
But about 3 years afterwards, George was now a fucking superstar. He's 18.
Right.
And he was the most desired man in England.
Yeah.
And Hughie had gone to Wolves. And she'd married him. And I was writing my annuals, my soccer annuals. Yeah. It must be 3 years on top of it. 3 years later, 5, 7, 8 years later. And I remember going to Hughie's house to interview him. And I said to Chrissy, I said, did you ever regret that? She said, oh, fucking hell, did I regret it? It was unbelievable. Like, she was the woman who turned him down. And she wouldn't even have a dance with him, for old George. But, like, we were kind of innocents abroad. Manchester was full of, you know, full of willing girls.
Yeah, but innocents abroad, you also give that story about everyone being hauled out to a brothel.
That was
innocent about that?
That was 5 years afterwards. Well,
was it? Okay.
It was. I was 20 then. It was when I played the first match for Ireland. That was older guys. I mean, they were the senior players in the Irish team who organised that. The captain, like, and senior players.
Was that the norm, or was that a wild exception?
No, it was a wild exception.
Was it really?
I think so. Yeah. I never experienced it. Never before a match before. This was 2 nights before the fucking match.
What after match?
After a match.
Detense and relax.
Yeah, after a match on a couple of occasions. Eastern Europe, in Spain, I remember brothel expeditions.
Yeah. Is it a dominant pattern now?
I wouldn't have thought so. No. I mean, they were very, very rare.
Were they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I only remember being once in a brothel.
Was it a case the Irish left out of the Catholic country going mad, or would it happen to all teams travelling anywhere?
I think there was a lot of the Irish. I mean, the officials were worse. You know, they were brothel creepers. I mean, they were there all the time. Right. First thing they did when they got into town. Where's the gig? Right. But we weren't. I mean, we were young guys. Mostly we could look after that side of things if we wanted to. No. Yeah. No. There was the point about the thing in Paris was we didn't go to a brothel to sleep. We went to get an exhibition organised between 2 girls. All right. We couldn't do it. As it happened, a couple of the guys weakened during the process. Right. But we were all sitting around this room. All right. Watching a show. All right.
Were you forbidden to participate? Was this you told you coming along, but you can't get?
Oh no. We had there was a general understanding that you didn't have sex for at least 24 hours and 48 hours before a match. That was it. All right. Okay. And no one would want to have been seen to be, but there was weak management. There was weak officials. We knew the FIR had sold the match to the Spanish as well.
You knew that in advance.
Yes. All right. That we shouldn't be playing this match here. We should be playing it at Highbury. Right. Or like the Anfield thing. Yeah. Imagine if Ireland had said, "Well, we won't play here. We'll play in Brussels." Right. To be full of Dutch people. So we knew that the odds were against us. But I was only a child. I mean, 8 guys went. John Giles went to bed. I remember that.
On his own.
Well, no, it was 5 or 6. There was a party of maybe 16. All right. But 8 guys went, and most of them were senior guys, and some were very famous guys. And do you want to come along? So, why not? Right. curiosity. I'd never been to the Follies Berger. I'd never been that.
The brothel wasn't part of that, though, was it?
Who?
The brothel wasn't part of that. That was.
We went out.
Okay.
We went out first of all to see the red light district, Montmartre, the Follies, and all of that.
Right.
And then we saw all these women in mock mink coats walking down the street with poodles. It was just a show.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, some dame came up and said, "You Irish? You like?" So we said, "How much have we got?" And we clubbed together, and this is for a show, an exhibition.
All right.
And I mean, Jesus, it's 1965, Joe. I mean, you're talking about.
But that must have blown the cobwebs off your mind to a degree. Or were you already experienced enough? I suppose you've been away since 15. You've been away since 16.
I knew nothing.
All right.
Yeah, we were totally innocent.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like children going into that area. Even the older guys, were like children. They're hardened fellas in certain ways, but hardened professional sportsmen. But hardened professional sportsmen are often in those days anyway, extremely naive about, unworldly, should we say, about those things.
Is it a habit that's persisted in your life? You're still a brothel creeper?
Jesus, I know, I'm finished. I'm fucking hands dogs, excuse me.
Oh, it's their uncle's father. They're phoning.
About brothels. That was the only time in my life I was in a brothel, except one other time when we played a match in Spain, and we all went off to this thing. Again, it was a kind of club come brothel out in the country somewhere.
Right.
And it was, it was one of those mad escapades that was a total disaster. And one or two of the guys got involved, and it was seedy. Well, when you see, funnily enough, in the French thing, it was like these two sort of dames who were,
The lesbian king?
Yeah.
Right.
And it was kind of...
And the boys enjoyed that?
It was fun.
All right.
Like, it wasn't even serious sex. I know that kind of thing can be serious sex. Like, it's the serious... It couldn't... In any way, it wasn't sex. It was the most unsexy thing.
Really?
It was a fucking joke. So we were laughing and fucking joking, and I robbed the money back, and we split the money, and it was awful stuff. It was madness. I mean,
wasn't that erotic?
Not in the slightest. Not at all.
It seems to be the fantasy of about 90%.
I think there is. Of course, I understand that about. I mean, the serious.
Woman to woman.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a serious thing, and I've had that T-shirt on a couple of occasions, but in my adult life, it wasn't erotic, and it wasn't even exploitative. These girls had forgotten more than we were ever going to know about mug tourists rambling around the streets. Now, the other thing, the second time I was in that situation with players was actually, you could see the madam, and it was wrong. And it was immediately, obviously wrong.
Right.
And when we went to Eastern Europe, there was an awful lot of prostitution. In the hotels, girls, they weren't prostitutes. They were girls trying to get some dollars. Yeah. It was horrible. And
with your awakening political awareness, did you have was that in conflict with your kind of
I've got a very strong belief in women, and I think the women I've worked with will confirm it. Orliger and anyone like that, the people I work with now, I strongly hold the view that women should be respected. I do respect them, but they shouldn't be objects of any innuendo, any stuff. And I held that long before it was correct to do so. I respect women, and even when I'm out at night, fun. You know what I mean? Fun.
You're a bit of a lecturer. Come on, I've seen you. We've shared the same glances across the same.
Yeah, but I'm nice.
Are you not? Okay.
I mean, you ask the girls and Joyce before you do this to confirm it.
All right.
You ask Carol, or you ask Valerie Rowe, you ask Jean, right? In all of those years and all of those clubs, I've never left anyone. Maybe once.
But you go on with the laddish behaviour, which is I'm out here to get a ride.
Nah, never. You ask women. Women hate women. You ask those women. You can verify it yourself. No, I don't.
You say that in my company as a kind of...
the joke thing. Yeah, I know. I can't go home anymore. I'm old and all that stuff. But it's a mess.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, but that could be for people who don't know.
Oh yeah,
Have
but
you
I
ever
don't
been in a
care.
situation where a woman's really feel you're sexist?
They know me. Well, you ask them.
Alright.
If you can find a woman in this town, if you can find, I mean, one.
Okay.
And we have a lot of common acquaintances.
Yeah.
I always look after girls. I have to give them their money. I always give them their dignity. Never any of that stuff. And I hope they'll confirm that. I mean, but of course I'm a messer.
All right.
I'm always joking and and that night, even the last time I saw you, was Ken Doherty with me?
I'm not sure.
I think the last time I saw you in Lily's, Ken. No, I don't. I fixed Ken up actually with a brother.
All right. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, what about that situation where you say you wore the T-shirt for watching two women? Was that exploitative?
No, I wasn't watching them. I wasn't watching
them. You were with them.
I was with them.
And they were willing. They were.
Oh, absolutely.
There was no exploitation involved.
None at all. They were.
You.
No, I met them. Enjoy it.
All right. Okay.
It was
all
a
right.
common.
So, but can you honestly say, looking back in your life, that there was not a situation where you exploited a woman? I don't even mean sexual. I mean in any sense. We can't all be saints. We can't all.
I'm not a saint.
Correct.
I mean, I'm not a saint. At all.
An abusive situation, maybe when you were
No.
too young to know. No.
Well.
Like
You'd have to be. It'd have to be a complete bollocks to say yes to that.
Yeah.
To say you never did it.
Right.
I'd have to think about it. But
Well, even like the Manchester girl you mentioned earlier.
no, I mean, I actually wasn't able to do that. I actually.
I'll go through it all the way.
No, I always felt that kind of sex was unsatisfactory.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, I have got good friends and have had them over the years, women who I think sex has got to be a mutual thing. Whatever the deal is, it's got to be two parties to it. In other words, you meet a girl who's, say, promiscuous, and she wants the thing, it's a deal. You meet someone who has a different approach to it. Yeah, there has to be a compatibility of a mutuality there for the thing to be really, to feel good about it afterwards and good about it at the time and to go on with that. I guess I know that you know that more the older you get. But my inclinations always were, I think, sound. Although I couldn't identify why, I never really got a buzz out of. See, I don't like power, Joe. A lot of sex is power.
Sure, yeah.
And, hey, Tim. That's the great Joe Jackson. That's my son, Tim.
Pleased to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Does he look like a victim of a savage? Thanks, Tim.
Well, that's Sartre's belief that sex is power. That it's a whole power game.
Yeah. Well,
This is where we define
I
the real battle.
Yeah. Well, I don't like Sartre. Although I read him, and I prefer Camus, who was an opponent of his in the end. I don't like power. I think power corrupts everybody, and therefore I've never liked relationships that depended on power, and I've never can honestly say I've never gone to bed with a woman who didn't make the first move.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Ever. And that's a residue of my childhood.
Yeah, but it's residue in relation to the shyness, or just.
But no, it began as the shyness.
Okay.
But as an adult, I've never really believed. I believe there's that the only great sex experience is the love sex experience.
All right.
I believe all the other things there's a dark side to you. They can feed that dark side, they can gratify it. And I've spent my whole life, and I'm continuing to spend my whole life, trying to go back to my childhood and to keep my spirit clean and childish.
Hi, Joe Jackson here again. I thank you for listening to this edition of the Joe Jackson Interviews podcast. And don't forget that my ebook, Conversations with a Loudmouth, is available from all ebook outlets. And if you want to access the full tapes, contact me via my website, joejacksoninterviewer.com.